is in response to response times that is going down and that is happening across our city, as to bring the impact of what is going on and how you feel it is this is how. And 15 minutes starting intentionally late is the reason that we have to address this based on what happened last week. And we're doing for the complete overhaul. As we contacted the 911 center, we're going to take a tour. Anybody want to do that, sign up, because we got to see how much max capacity is, but sign up because we'll do 2 or 3 if we have to. As ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem, and it's serious, and more serious than you think based on that information from last week. As things are escalating, it is hot. School's out next week, and safety is the #1 priority for everybody. As I don't have to remind you of things that has been transpired just over in the last 6 weeks, and that's what we know about. So I do hope and encourage everybody chime in and do this, because we're drafting and scoping out every aspect of it and implementing, as we're going to understand that this has to happen before anything else can occur to meet priority #1. Because ain't no development, ain't no restaurant, ain't nobody gonna come if they don't feel safe in a city that they can't be protected from. And in response to a call, is the E911 system has to be here at every single point within the technical boundaries of the city of South Fulton. It has to be identified, accounted for on our own system, knowing that the technological integration with that will be advanced in all capacity current, with the room to grow for the future in every technological advancement. And I'm just saying, that's how that resonated with me, as I felt for the ladies who presented that, because I heard it in their voice and tone. They was fearful of everything. So there was nothing else that mattered, as they was fearful. So, and I'm committed to that. And so we are working, and we're going to do this around the clock. And so, and this is, I want to start off too, but because one of the things is on Jubilee or Juneteenth, is Miss Shirley from the community. She does this walk, a nonviolence walk, and from Doe National Commons to Kroger. And she asked us if we're going to participate this year, but her organization is Connecting the Links for Change. And understand that she has been committed to this process for 12 years. And so Team Me, I want District 5 to get all behind her, because see, she has given so much to the community over her years that she has been here, as a business owner, as a philanthropist, and as a resident. And I think that the key portion of this nonviolent walk, this is also too the woman who had the nonviolent affair in Welcome Mall the same day at another event concurring. I'm saying the young man was shot and killed in front of his mother. So I don't have to tell you what that does over there to the organizer, but understanding as we go into Jubilee, because we're rolling the next 30 days, that's all we're doing. And everything we're doing is directly related to that, is because we have to bring that home. As I think that this walk, I know I'm gonna participate, and I want everybody else to get whoever you can to participate, as that's gonna set the tone for the day that we're here for Jubilee, and then we're gonna have some ongoing efforts after that celebration, because we have to continue, because it's a continuing fight. It's the long game, and it's not gonna be solved overnight, but we will walk and we will move towards the right position. And so, Ms. Shirley, I'm gonna give you this opportunity to go ahead and take the floor, and then we're going to move on with the topic of discussion.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shirley Stenbridge. We're a nonprofit organization. We're connecting the links for change. My grandson was murdered January 25th, 2012. And we're out here in the community trying to help our young youth to go in the right direction. We do Stop the Violence events, and we're doing a Stop the Violence community walk. This is coming June 18th. And we're asking the community to come out with us to join so we can teach our young youth that they don't have to pick up guns. We have had so much violence just in our community. And we just need to come together as a community and help our youth and continue to help our youth. Yes, I had an event out at Wickham Park just a week or so, and a young man was murdered. It hurts so much to see that type of thing happens to our young children. So I'm just asking the community to come out and support the Stop the Violence community team walk on June 18th, starting at 8 o'clock. We're going to be walking from Grown Folks to Kroger's parking lot and coming back. After we come back, we'll have motivated speakers to speak on stopping the violence. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Shirley. And we'll talk offline. And so we're going to try to get a grand marshal for the event, a guy from the community that is local. And so hopefully that we can bring in more awareness. But as you know, I'm committed to walking, and we're going to take those steps. As you see, Miss Jane was out walking already. She done preempted this. And so, you know what I mean? And so it's not just, you know, stop the violence over there, but she's campaigning so she can get in there to do something about stopping the violence. And I'm just saying that it's
That's right. That's
and we have to come on all fronts, because this is a state, county, city, and a level that we have to be a unified front on. I don't have to tell you about, you know, the difficulties and challenges of that when, you know, you have a governor having the carry all, and sales are increasing. So we have to look at that. And so, but as guns don't kill people, it's people that kill people with the use of a gun. And so it's really a tool as a mechanism to shoot out there and use out there to defend if you have to. But it's not to go out and proactive and actively seeking, because that's the last thing you should have to pull out, and your life should absolutely be in danger. But I am all for the Second Amendment. I'm a total member. I do believe in it, but I do believe the responsibility of it as well. So we're going to be looking at gun safety classes, and you know, during this month, we're going to do one. I'm asking my friend to do one for the ladies, and so understanding something, and I would like for everybody to participate in knowledge. If even if you can't participate, send it out. As I want the max participation in this, because this really, to me, is setting the tone on the day of Jubilee. Because understand something, there's events after this to keep it going. As Juneteenth is just there, but we can't stop there, because we have to progress towards what we all want to achieve: a peaceful quality of life, with a healthy respect for authority, and a thriving city, and to maximize the most and get the most return on your investment. And see, and I also told Miss Shirley we're gonna do something else too, starting next year. As I said, I'm completely done with it. I said I was done with it, okay, because it is Miss Shirley. And I call her Miss Shirley because since I was a kid, I was going to she used some quality hair designs on Old National, so I would go get my hair cut. And so she was a proprietor of that business, and for her, because she does so much, just out of love and out of her own. I told her I do this completely free, and completely at no charge, and commit to doing something for her organization, because connecting the links for change. That's naming to me is a lot. I believe a lot of the name and that goes to directly what I believe in and how you got to connect the link where that broken link was. Whatever happened in your life, go back to that point, correct that, and then progress forward. But that has to be reached, and that takes time. And so, and she's been doing this for 12 years, um, and I'm just saying that it's something that not even known about in our own community all the way. And so, and the colors is purple and yellow, but we don't old national say purple and gold. Okay, so as we are asking everybody who to wear either one of those colors and both if you can. And so I'm definitely gonna be asking all the Omega brothers over there to participate where they can, and understanding the merch. Like this should be a buy-in from everybody on that quarter, because 3 Lakes, Camelot, we will pass and go past, and understanding that because I'm gonna be going in there recruiting too, because I want the max participation, because we must start where the most troubled areas are, and have them come participate and have them walk with us, as it's not gonna happen overnight, but as that journey from the Commons Plaza to Kroger is. Do you know how many miles it is, Miss Shirley?
No, I do not.
Okay, well, I'm reasonably assume it's more than 3, right? 3.1, so it's more than a little 5K. But get this, and if it is, that's just a small, minute journey. We have to do it. Because I said I'm gonna get out there and walk it and let you know too, by the way. So I'm actually gonna do that this week coming up. Just go walk the course just to go do it, so that I can give people the most accurate on what it would take, what I did to do it. So it takes 50 minutes or 45 minutes. But I want everybody to participate. But I say this: can they walk to the distance they feel comfortable with, and then turn back and go back? Miss Shirley?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is something that we all need to buy into, because understand something. This is that agenda, and this is going to be wrapping up our 30 days of straight focus on dealing with our E911 system, because I don't ever want to hear that tone in the ladies' voices again of absolute fear. And so, but I can't guarantee it. But what I can guarantee is the commitment to overhauling the change that we need to have, so we don't arrive 45 minutes late to an accident with 3 other municipalities on the scene and can't do nothing because they're in the wrong jurisdiction. That's unacceptable, completely. And so there's nothing else I'm focusing on until we get that handled. Because as I stated, that is a core fundamental principle that I absolutely 100 believe in. And that occurs first before anything else can transpire, to me. And your public safety is my absolute #1 goal. Has been from day one and will continue to be. And that's for anybody in our community. And that's a healthy, vibrant community, because you don't want, especially after the latest what's happening, combined with the history, but just what happened in Buffalo randomly, is understanding that we can't prevent that from happening. They wake up with that on their mind, and they have the absolute will to try to carry it out and harm many people they can that day. But we can definitely do everything to prevent or circumvent any harm comes to our citizens out there. Is we can just recognize things that can escalate quickly. So I want the people on this call, I want y'all to add to this conversation, because this is directly affecting you. And what is it that we can see, have, or put in, as we're literally drafting the points to give the chief what he's necessarily need, as we go and advocate, and then we're committed to finding the funding, identifying funding, timeline from installation to, because he said the infrastructure is the most important piece, and we're dealing with infrastructure. That's one of our topics. And as a body, as a council, I'm saying. And so since we're on that, this is key and critical. So we're going to move in that direction. And so we can get on the right track. At least that's, and I believe that that's a unanimous deal. But I want your input. I want your talking points. I want your necessary why. I need you to speak up on this one and have everybody else because this is important to you, because this is home. So when I say it hit home, it is home, and this is our home. And what did Boston do last night? They protected their house. It's a different mentality when you at your house. And I feel this is my house. And so I need y'all to step up with y'all input, as this is the time. And in 30 days, we're gonna have everything compiled and everything ready, and to move forward and going out and getting our system. And then that chief will lead that charge. And we're here to support that effort in every which way. Are you with me?
Yes.
Hey, Councilman
Yes, we
William.
with you.
I
Mr.
definitely
Washington.
support. I definitely support the idea. The question is, what's the budget for that? And given the geography, some of the questions would be, some of these neighborhoods are split by cities. How is that going to be managed with a proposed 911 just for city of South Fulton?
So we're gonna use the technological integration, because we're gonna remember I said within the technical boundaries of the city of South Fulton. So that's gonna be the GIS coordinating through our IT department. But on that the cell phone, because that's what I'm saying, the towers, there's some existing infrastructure. We're getting the overlay. In other words, to answer your question, let me say this: is we're gathering that intel. That's what we're doing the next 30 days over, from the budgeting to everything. It's gonna be the full gamut, the full cycle, from thought to concept to purchase to implementation. So they won't start.
And to that end, all cell phones now have the information in there that if the existing 911 system is configured properly, to tell where that cell phone is under the current system. So I guess I don't want to say duplicate efforts, but my concern is if the technology already exists within the current setup where it can recognize where a cell phone is, why is it still the issue with them not knowing you're calling within the city of South Fulton limits now? Because the technology on the phones is not going to change between now and the time we quote unquote get our own system. And if I'm not understanding, enhanced 911 should work now with the existing system, and they should be able to tell where you're calling from as long as you have it enabled on your phone. And if we were to get a new system that's just for us, the issue still would be that individuals would have to enable that locating feature on their phones in order for it to work. So I'm all for it, but I'm just concerned that the technology and the capability is already there. It's just not being utilized now on both sides, the provider, meaning Fulton County 911, and then the citizens not having that feature enabled on their phone. How is that different from what's able to be done now versus if we went and spent all the money for our own system and people still don't turn on that location feature to allow it to register where their phone is located when they call in?
Absolutely, Mr. Washington. When I tell you, you was right on and spot on. Because one of my things is we are here to remove all barriers of excuses. As when I say the totality of it, it's going to come with the educational piece. When I say double down on the educational piece, print, let's say every social media, every media outlet you can have to reach everybody on instructions, because that is the most important thing to do. Is if you do, make sure your location systems are on. For seniors who don't know how to able, they have a senior connect class. They learn that instantaneously, as with just even larger fonts. But you're right, the ping will do it. But wherever that phone is calling from, the GIS coordinates with our technical boundaries within the city South Fulton limits, with those cell phone towers, it will give you the exact location and say this is in the city of South Fulton. If it's outside, it's going to simply say this is outside the city of South Fulton, or this can't register, because it's those technical boundaries. So whatever it is, they know they're still in the area, but the proper jurisdiction can be immediately notified, so they don't have to wait 45 minutes out there to have them respond to it, as it'll be interface usable with the other systems to let them know that's who needs to be on the scene, as we will be there to assist, but they need to be there and notified immediately if we're notified. That they know how to do that. And get this, that's those software engineers and all that technical data piece, because I know they have the capabilities of doing it.
And that's what I'm saying. What amount of that capability is already available now with the current setup? Because whenever
They
I've called police, they say, what's the nature, what's the location of your emergency? So they're not either not getting it, because I know mine is enabled, or it's not configured for them to get it, or they just don't know how to use it when it comes up on their screen, user error on the operator side. And
right.
I think for me, that's my number one question. What capabilities are being maximized or could be maximized now with the existing infrastructure before we just completely jump ship and say, let's do our own thing? Or you think it's going to automatically route to our own operators? That's fine. But if the technology is still not being used properly, still no added immediate benefit.
So, sir, Mr. Washington, that's why we literally that's why it says Mayday E911, no safety, no accidents, because we have to know how the safety process works, because we know what we was told, but these accidents keep occurring. And understanding that what happened on last week's car, this is what prompted, because I thought that was handled, and that got my immediate attention, sir, as I literally thought that was the case, and it's not. Then I went and doubled down this week to get more data to find out it's not isolated. So that tells me there's something vehemently wrong. We have our chief who spoke, and he got on the phone, jumped on the call, and explained why. So we're going to double down, because we're going to go take a tour, and let the people over there understand that. And whoever want to sign up, because see, I want everybody involved, because see, I believe in everybody getting the same information at the same time. And if we have to do 2 or 3 trips, we'll do that, because anybody who wants to advocate for this and understand, I want a complete overstanding of, if that is, why is it not implemented? Because y'all show charges for it, and somebody said they spent the money on it. So does somebody know how to use it? Because if that's the case, it's sitting on the shelf, and our taxpaying dollars is being wasted and not spent. And meanwhile, we still have confusion when it comes to 911. So that's what prompted this to happen. But we're going to go to the root and start first, sir, because if they don't have the answer, we're going to keep proceeding forward, because we're 30 days committed to this, 30 straight full days, Saturday and Sunday included. Because to me, when they show up at church, I mean, hey, look here, I just understand that it's a full cycle and it's an issue that we face, because I want to know those same questions. I would like you to join me too, so you can ask them right there from a citizen standpoint that says, why is it not? Because we've been charged for it now, and they sure pay for it. And why is it not working on our side? Why is it not working down here? Help us out. And I'm gonna ask Chief to join us over there, because that's who y'all need to explain it to. But I want to have his constituents to do, and this is a citywide thing, really. So it's not, but I just can't do anything else until we get a handle on that. And if it's something they can do and fix immediately, let them do it. And we'll know by the next 911 call. And hopefully it don't come as into the way it came last Monday, because that's not good for no one.
Right. Hey, Corey.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Councilman Reeves, this is Mario Clark. Speaking to the gentleman's point earlier, the technology that's out now is the ANI and ALI. And the fact that we have an enhanced system, we should be able to have automatic number identification and automatic location identification displayed on all of those calls. Also, the issue where a number of systems seem to lag or slow down, the fact that you have separate software systems trying to speak to each other and they also don't all integrate. So there may have to be a comprehensive overhaul of how the system integrates so that we can get all the information together. Those are the biggest things, and I'd like to go on that tour with you guys to kind of go over that and see that. But another thing I think that is really important, and I kind of want to know your guys' thoughts on this, in terms of just as the situation that happened in Buffalo, the unfortunate situation, it came out today that the 911 operator actually hung up on a young lady that was making a call. The operator had an attitude and hung up, and it's kind of similar to where the operator in this situation that came up last week was going back and forth with the constituent that called in. And I think that by integrating a bit of AI, I know, and you and me, we talked about that personally, integrating a bit of AI, and as well as natural language processing, we should be able to get that information out sooner, and then have automated systems where if a person isn't available, somebody should be able to make that call get the requisite information, and the actual police or emergency dispatch should be able to pinpoint and go directly to that location with information about the incident so that they can be best prepared when they arrive on the scene. I do have some conversations that are going on with the police department to see if they, can have the drones go out, in advance to kind of assess the situation and give a layout of the land while the emergency vehicles are en route. But that's a further conversation that we'll have to have. But I just want to put those points out there. I love to know you guys' thoughts, and yeah, we'll just continue this conversation further.
I get this absolutely, and now I'm almost certain. Hey, General Leverett, see if this guy get this, because we have nothing else better to do. See if we can schedule one of these visits once a week, starting this Thursday or Friday, to those 911 centers, because I want to maximize every opportunity for anybody to join on the days, and if they can do it, do one a week, and commit to that.
I'll follow up.
Right, as Will said. So, because I want everybody from yesterday to go see for themselves. Okay, to eliminate any hearsay, because we want to go directly to the source, because he hit the nail on the head. It was operator error in every shape, form, or fashion of hanging up the phone. That's called burnout, and that's called they're dealing with other things. And the most important call, and they burnt out on the most important call they couldn't afford to hang up on. But however it happened, that's the reality of a situation, and that's what these people face as they deal with this day in and day out. It's high stress, high level, and it's almost like a FAA operator, high level, high stress deal, and lives are on the line. They are absolutely on the line. Minutes and seconds do count, which goes into a further conversation on what that can help us in this city particularly as well. But Mr. Washington, go back to your point. If they can do that and make that happen, because they do have the wherewithal to do that. And I don't mean down the road, I mean immediately put that in motion so we can do that. So we know we have a plan forward to ensure the safety of the entire constituency of Fulton County. If they want to control it, if they cannot guarantee that, sir, then we must, it's our duty to look into the options for the citizens and the constituents of citizens of Fulton. But we will build ours as to be integrated with whatever it is, using the latest, as Mr. Clark has stated, who is in that field and area expertise. As speaking of the drones, there's a young lady who just graduated Banneker, and said, drone, I sent the picture, because, drone pilots, is there any opportunity room for her, because they want to do drones and policing, and that's just the way of the future, because you're right, because you can do recon. So any officer that we have, understand, no safety, no accidents. And so they do the recon, they can have everything mapped out. And I believe we can digitize it to whereas they can see all threats and assessment before they even get on the scene, and already have that plan of action from the protocols put forth to render the situation, remember that, get a quick resolve with no one in danger rather quickly. So that's what I'm pushing. And so by everybody who's on this call, who would be able to go this Thursday or Friday, or which would be a better day, Thursday or Friday? Because I want to set up one this week. And as I just had Ms. Leverett to reach out to him, I want to schedule one per week, because as give my colleagues to get some people from their community to get involved, because this is a citywide issue, by the way. It's not just, and when I say it's not isolated, it's just not isolated to just this district, this area, as they have problems in other areas you wouldn't think about, but they do. And from what I gathered from the conversation, please somebody correct me if I'm wrong, is our chief has been trying to work with them for quite some time to no avail, because we keep running to the same issues. And so, but I want to give the people a fair opportunity, because I trust the chief when he says now, but I want to give the people the opportunity to see it. And if that rendered to be the case, we then turn all that who wins as the advocates on why. Because I'm telling you, this is home. It has hit front home. It has hit our front door. And I don't have to remind people that this is the summer of people going to be out and about in every possible way, just as an excuse to get out of the house. As today was one of the most, it was a pretty day. It's been a beautiful week. It's like the storm last night out there. Watch the way, but hey, get this. It's a beautiful day. And we'll have more days like this, and people gonna be itching to get out because they've been cooped up for 2 years. What seems like been cooped up for 2 years, but people been out, but not at the numbers they're gonna be out. So, and I don't get involved in talking about. We're gonna provide the maximum safety and effort that we can, and with the additions on to where they need to be and the places they need to be. But I am big on that drone technology, is because they can scope out as that eye in the sky basically, and that pinpoints threats and assessments in real time. So, but anybody else, I want everybody to add to this conversation. As in, this is what it is. I need y'all on this. And I need y'all to have everybody else on this. Because this is our city issue. If it can be corrected, we're going to go with that. Understand this. I don't care nothing about no election or none of this, because that don't matter. That this needs to happen immediately. And if the county can do it, they have the wherewithal to do it. It needs to get done. And if that's a complete overhaul, so be it. But the wheels are in motion. So whoever comes in the office, it's just something that's carrying on. Because March 24th, everybody can celebrate, but May 25th, get there. It's time to go to work. I have nothing else better to do than understand that this is a commitment that must be made to the constituency. From top down, don't matter. So, and I commit to y'all that. That's for sure. I have nothing else to talk about for the next 30 days. I want y'all to hear me because I need y'all with me. And I need y'all to, if any conversation, just email it over. Because all these gonna be talking points. If it gotta be a booklet, that's what it will be. Because I'm getting the times over from our own departments on the calls that they've been on. This is gonna be a data-driven deal, and they're gonna have to answer the data, people. And so because that's what we're walking in there with. I'm not walking with my opinion. Here's the data. So what's your remedy? How this is happening? And what's your timeline? What's your milestone of implementation? And because when they say funding, I will constitute this as an emergency. It is an emergency. It's Mayday. Anybody else can talk to me now?
It's Mayday.
I'm concerned about the training that the workers are getting, because you can't do what you don't know.
And so, and to your point, that's going to be a question of what training are y'all providing? Get this. And then subsequently, what continuing education training y'all providing as refresher courses to their initial training? As training for that can never stop. Would you agree?
Yes.
Like a refresher once a year, because some people it's easy to just get caught up in know and then just get so caught up in Noah's routine, and then because moments in life you can create different kind of pressures, and it might cause you to I forgot that step, and and not necessarily because they forgot it, because just life, and then they're in that intense situation, and so it's always healthy to have refresher courses, as
Exactly.
to get this, to highlight those key steps you can't afford to miss.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. Anybody else have more questions? Tamir, please be writing these down, because we're going in there with the question. Whatever said today, that's what we're gonna be walking in addition to the stuff that we're gonna need to have as well.
Hey, Corey, I'm looking on the city's website. Where's the IGA agreement with the 911 center? It's not. I don't see it.
I have to ask Chief about that one.
I mean, I'm sure there is one, but I don't see it because I'm looking. I see 2017 IGAs. I see 2018. I see 2019. Unless it's embedded in one of these other IGAs, but Normally
And I
you
know
have
we get,
those, you have them separated by services that are rendered.
mhm. So get this, and well, when we say, let me just say something, okay? And I'm gonna be completely honest, Joe. Is understand something. This is also too simultaneously. Y'all have to understand something. Is I'm big on this IT thing, and it needs to work at a time. It needs to work all the time. It needs to be constantly nurtured, upgraded. Just like, I mean, it's because it's always forever changing. Threats happening. Understand? We have to increase our capacity in our IT with wherewithal as well. I've been on that since day one because I do include cybersecurity as in our public safety, as that's the number one thing that's starting to trending. I would let Mr. Clark answer that question and on why that was the case, because I mean, but I just know how to interpret what I'm reading as it's escalating up there as well. And I don't have to tell you about cybersecurity because it is that affects your banking, your gas card, your purchases, everything. It can literally be shut off in a second, and account can be wiped out within a matter of seconds. So, and I'm talking about not just one, I'm talking about masses, and that's the problem. And so, Ms. Carter, you want to add to that? That's fine, but
Yeah, I mean, both of you gentlemen are correct. Mr. Farrell, you're correct as well. We need to have the transparency in terms of the systems that we're dealing with, and we need to be able to have the flexibility to be vendor agnostic when we deal with those systems. As I just said in the chat, Sandy Springs, they have that chatcom system, and they actually have appointees that oversee the system, and they're appointed by the city manager. And those people, they have performance requirements that they have to deal with, and they're responsible for those performance requirements, which leads to the success of the system. So that's on one end. And just as you said, that agreement needs to be public so everybody can easily navigate to it and see it. But in terms of our cybersecurity, Corey, I got to be honest with you, we're kind of lagging. I mean, we have a lot of dead spots in terms of coverage, but we have to have a comprehensive audit of our systems, right, to be able to understand the efficacy of what we have available and what we can upgrade to. I mean, I deal with, vulnerability monitoring, and, systems are attacked every day. And, municipalities are targets too. One, because there's so much, money that's being going back and forth. And then it's the information. The information is more important than the money. So, with people attacking systems, pay systems, when you're paying tickets and things of that nature, we have to be on top of our cybersecurity, and that needs to be, to the forefront. So there needs to be a bigger conversation into that, and a lot of more people need to be involved. The other districts definitely need to be as concerned as we are in terms of how to upgrade our systems and how to protect ourselves from attack. But going back to the customer service aspect of it, I honestly believe that we have an unused gem in District 5. Chick-fil-A is right there. I mean, I worked on the account. We raised them from the number 4 customer service center to the number 1 customer service center. And honestly, I think that some of our operators and people that handle the phones for City of South Fulton could benefit from some of that training. So if there's a way for us to be able to develop a partnership on how to approach training from a holistic level, so for them to understand the importance of the job, as well as to approach the job in a manner where that burnout is not affected affecting their performance. I mean, if somebody's burnt out, or if somebody's to the point where they can't take another call, they need to be able to say something, and there needs to be an outlet for them to be able to decompress. And I think that that'll be advantageous, where artificial intelligence can step in at some point to be able to handle some of those calls when we don't actually have the physical bandwidth to be able to cover every issue that arises in South Fulton.
my pleasure. As you just hear common people saying it now, and where's that come from over there? Because those little 2 words can take a long day. As people says, "How you doing today?" I said, "The best day of my life." It could be absolutely the worst day that's going on, but I'm still here. I woke up and I'm vertical upright. And some people, it does change the dynamics of it. as it truly is the best day, because I really mean that. But to add to what you are saying, as we are building that relationship with Chick-fil-A now, and it was for the nonprofit section of that, because they actually pick nonprofits and build them up into that space, as that's what we try to take our cohorts to, because make more impact in the community that they serve, which is right here. But to add to your customer service piece, because we was gonna have folks who do answer those phones within those to get that training. But yeah, you are absolutely right. Is something that can be beneficial, as they can do that as lunch and learns, and that's an impact directly to their community, as it can be a shared deal, because they too have a Chick-fil-A green team, by the way. And what they do is they have infrastructure and pipes that let out trash all over through Chick-fil-A, and they green team, they assemble once a week to go pick that trash up. And they get like 40 to 50 dollars internally out there to go clean up the trash let out by the sewer. And this is Chick-fil-A now. And so I said, wow. And we're talking about infrastructure, and one of the world's most admired company, Fortune 500, one of the fastest growing company, is dealing at the headquarters now, is dealing with that. And we're dealing with it too. But by that knowing, I'm going to try to get them navigators as this is why we need our upgrade, and understand that there's mitigation factors that can be handled, and they can be a leading spokesperson that when you get to the table, we don't have to say that, because they're going to we just be there, rock behind them as they speak, because they don't listen to them, and they're going to see us. And that is a collaborative effort of how we can utilize and maximize all the resources that we do have around us, because we do have common interests, and so we're just not known about. But I've already started talking to them, and so I got another meeting coming up. As we're going ready to do it, I'm going to bring that very point up, sir, and tie it into all the beautifications. And speaking of, if anybody do have community events, Ms. Glenn, I know we had to go have a cleanup over there at Fairwood. I got postponed. But send me all the events if they have cleanups, because I do send it into them, and whoever's able to come from Chick-fil-A to volunteer, they will come out and volunteer. Because the guy over there who leads the AI technology for the headquarters, Mr. Corey Jones, he does live in this district as well. And so it all ties into what we're doing, where we're going, why that I see District 5. And when I say District 5, it's just that, but I'm really this area. Yeah, I was gonna say because it's this area as a technological hub. Because Fairman did just land Google, and understand that the tie-in necessary to what we're going and how we're facing with it in the future is that's what got to happen. And so one thing that the Mayor Khalid did that I absolutely champion, I like the idea of wellness days, because I understand for the burnout is that our first responder, people in these high stress jobs, they do need to have a decompression area that they can go in. So if they need to take some wellness time off for a minute to decompress after a very intense call, they have a space that they can do that they feel safe in and can let go immediately, just to even complete the day. So I'm actually going to take that back to, so when we do construct, that will be a component of it. And so, because wellness days are real, I take one at every council meeting. And so, because it's a lot that goes into it. And so, it's actually a great idea, but whatever would be the will of the council, but that is key. And that buy-in, you just can't refute, because see, I can just use that one example of this lady hanging up that phone call amongst all the other calls that go back, because when you trace it back, it does go back to an operator, and that goes to Mrs. Armstrong's question of continued training, and customer service, which you said, Mr. Clark, and get the subject matters who partner with them to do that. I think that builds a city relationship that's a public-private relationship you can bank on. Because at least we'll go from customer no service to customer service.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Drill down from Cliff Robinson. He's the chief people officer, and drill down from him and make sure that the right people are giving you guys enough information. They have an entire philosophy, and that philosophy is ingrained in every employee that's there. And they make it a point to do it. And I think that by having our service officers and the people that we have on the phone talking to our constituents adopt that philosophy or a similar philosophy that we can, glean from their training, I think will be very, very helpful and very, very beneficial.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna start like this. I'm gonna ask them, anybody who want to participate, who come on the call and want to participate in that, and double out on that training. So when we speak to our neighbors and stuff like this, it can change. Because I tell you, kind words can change something in an instant. That's why I say be kind, be kind.
Well, speaking to that, I have a backstage tour in my back pocket that I can utilize for up to 20 people. So whoever wants to go and see on the inside behind the walls, definitely let me know and I'll schedule that. Like I said, I can get about 20 people in there and you can kind of see exactly what's going on. I hear you, Jane.
Hey, get this. Right. So what we're gonna do is just get with a kitty, go to our website, district5mewe.org, and hey, the first 20 people signed up, get this. That's who it is. And then we'll set a date and go move forward on that. District5mewe.org. The first 20, we'll have a key to create this. So he's out on the call right now because he does these things and separate it out. So text him that information, tell him put it up there ASAP stat. And after this call out there, first 20 people go on there because that's the fair and balanced way. And we'll do it because let me just say this, it's going to be a continuum as we build this relationship and fortify our corporate partners. And because our community impact they have a community impact. They have goals and metrics. And with the cohort that we have in the nonprofit and the people we have, particularly the ones dedicated to this call into their community, we have a committed few. But understand something, there's always a few people who always change the world, never fail. As we'll continue on.
Councilman,
Yes, ma'am.
does that eliminate candidates?
Jane, that does not eliminate you because that is something that it is. I mean, that's any gifts or anything out there. This is actually out there community related over there. So it's at the end of the day, you're gonna be a part of that forever. So
okay.
And this is something that, as that's not just real, because we have a relationship we were built to with Bank of America. In other words, when we talk about this impact, and when we talk about Give Tuesdays, y'all, the coalition of the cohort nonprofit is built to self-sustain itself, to understand it's the nonprofits in this area to address all the needs of the people in this area directly. So, like I got a senior I have to deal with now. I got to give her a call after this. She got put out by flooding, and so to replace, not only the flood to clean it all up, but also too, there's funding sources that people can have and apply for, and that goes up to a greater cause. But the idea of we're going to get to that point where we'll be able to address every single issue, and that's the public-private nonprofit partnership that is going to be put in place to because understanding that our needs will be met. Like I will be remiss to say this and say that we have food pantries. That one is in Pleasant Word on Red Oak, and then at First Missionary on the corner of Flat Shoals in Buffington. That you can go get a fresh box of food and everything else. We're gonna be starting adding to the fresh vegetables to that and bread. It's on pick up every Tuesday, and we're feeding over 500 families a week. Combined with those two, and the Kingdom of God has a food pantry as well. And I think that there's an upcoming food distribution too. But let me just say this: I believe in the micro instead of the macro, because as an environmentalist, sitting in line the whole time and using idling, exhaust, and everything else, well, that's not too healthy. From the study they did. But I do want to put that out, as it's gonna be in the next newsletter, because I did tell Apostle Reed that we was gonna do that, and because they was looking to start help 40 people a month, they grew to 40 people a week. And understand people that's the need of the community here. As First Missionary was the ones who was feeding a hot breakfast for the kids every morning before they went to school, free. And so, but they lost the pension. But we gonna be doing something, helping them. Well, let me say this: we're going to be assisting them and with the effort they need to do to get a food pantry so they get the kitchen back, so they can bring that back, because that hot meal that they used to serve, that's unfortunately the only breakfast or food they have for that day in certain cases. And anyway, but however, it's I do want to make y'all aware of that. But everything that's related to E911 services, information to help Fulton County out there enhance they do to better service this area more. What's the 2 words I said, Mr. General Lev, earlier? Speed and accuracy. Okay, so we need to speed over there. We need to be accurate over there.
I work on my speed.
So right. So speed and accuracy, because those are those 2 key words, and those are the only talking points we have, because they have to answer all of that to what they have going on. But if anybody get any wind on any of that they're already doing, and got a plan in place preemptively before we go on here, I would like to know that, or share with everybody. And so just make this, everybody can go to the cohort chat on there and put any information you related to this on that, because that's where all our data source goes for this topic. And it's easy to compile the data. We just print it off, and it's shareable. You can go in there and see it. And so all your comments. But that's the direction we're moving in. And I'm hoping everybody on this call get with that, because it is directly affecting you. It's already hit 4 of our neighborhoods, and it don't need to hit one more to me, but I'm realistic and I do understand where we're at. But we'll have a resolve and we'll have things in place, at least for them to, with speed and accuracy, answer the call, because minutes do save lives, and that's a key fact. And so that's where we're at. Does anybody have anything else?
Jane had a question.
Hey, Councilman Reeves.
Yes.
Okay, so you all might have already discussed this, but so when we call to 911, right? And normally we have to get transferred. So with this new system or new infrastructure that you all are creating, will that eliminate us having to go through, I guess, the city of Atlanta? I'm not really sure who it is. I think the city of Atlanta. Then we have to be transferred to the city of South Fulton. So,
No, it will never
I will
eliminate
explain
that.
that, please.
what's that?
Yeah. It's never going to eliminate that, because again, as we explained, everyone has cell phones. The 911 systems that most cities have started from were not designed for the portability of what we have today. And so they were designed on technology when you had a true physical fixed phone to your physical address. Now technology is catching up, but it is still behind. Some of the cities that have some of that more robust technology, and it is not cheap, are like up in Boston. Again, as we spoke a few weeks ago or last week, Fulton County was supposedly hadn't updated their 911 system probably within the last 5 to 6 years. When you get into triangulation of your cell phones, what that is designed to do, years ago, it would take probably up to like a 3 to 4 mile radius. Now they're down to about a mile radius. So, and even less in some cases, depending on how many towers you have, and it triangulates where, and as the chief explained last week, it hits the closest tower. And if that tower says, hey, this is a 770 number, and that's what it knows, is programmed in a switch, is all technology based, it's all programmed X's and O's, ones and zeros. And at that point, that's when it points it and says, hey, I'm supposed to send 770-123. It goes to an exchange out of Atlanta. I know it's supposed to go to Atlanta 911. And I mean, and it's a lot of, it's just the technology. I mean, we're moving so fast that people just haven't, the technology hasn't really caught up as fast as it should have. It is getting there, but like I explained, one of the when I worked in Sandy Springs, one of the best 911 systems was a private 911 system that Sandy Springs, the city of Dunwoody, created, that very rarely did they have a call that went to Fulton County or any other city of Roswell or anything like that. They pretty much were on point. And it's a private company that manages it and runs it, but it is a private, they use a lot of the more robust technology, but they partner with other cities. Like I said, Sandy Springs and Dunwoody started it, Johns Creek bought into it, and they were even trying to stretch out to some other jurisdictions like in Norcross and other areas because they saw the benefits of it. So
Hey, Councilman Reed, this is William Washington again. There's also technology that some of the cell companies themselves can employ. And matter of fact, I'm looking at a story on 11 Live website about AT&T is rolling out its first nationwide system for location-based routing based upon the phone where it's located. So it's not all on the shoulders of the municipality, but I think the bottom line is, even if they know where we are, unless we have our own dedicated City of South Fulton dispatch to communicate with the police on a fire, it's still going to end up going to that Fulton County 911 where they have to manually call whatever dispatch is for that service to get help on the way. So if we were to still get a better system for knowing where you are, I don't, just from the outside looking in, see how that immediately speeds up the request for help from that specific service. So
Yes, sir,
beyond
Mr.
the technology, are we talking about having a dispatch center just for City of South Fulton to route those calls?
Yes,
What
sir.
we're
And
talking about
again,
is using AI to help the switch. Just as you said, you're correct. That dispatch does have to happen and that switch has to happen. But a lot of some companies and cloud companies are using artificial intelligence to help that switch so that that transfer can happen simultaneously. We just have to make sure that we have somebody on the other end that's ready and available to take that, so that that handoff is not delayed, if that makes sense.
And I guess the problem is the same people are getting the handoff, just with more information. Is that what you're saying?
Right. So the thing is, it's like this: when we do that handoff, we need to cast a wider net with that handoff. Yes, the operator needs to have it, but also the individual, whether it's the police or whether it's the medical team that's going out, needs to have that information going out as well, if that makes sense.
It does, and that also raises a question that when it comes to medical EMS, those are mostly private services, so they have to be on board with any technology upgrade that you
Right.
propose to provide. So
You're absolutely right.
it's not just one switch or one decision by City of South Fulton that will result in a better overall experience in that process. With the police, it's my understanding that no matter what or how the information is routed, somebody still, like I said before, has to call the police to tell them where to go, where the problem is. And I think that's where the issue for me personally I've experienced calling Fulton County. Like some folks said, it's a training issue. It's a, sometimes they think they're doing you a favor by even answering the phone issue. And, being able to route between emergency and non-emergency calls where you would call to get that resolved, because we have a non-emergency number for Fulton County, but quite frankly, it still goes to the same dispatch because they ask you when you call, what's the nature of your emergency? Maybe that's protocol to make sure they don't miss a call. It's an emergency, but it seems to be the same pipeline or flow of processes to get someone to do something. So that bottleneck to me still sounds like it's still there, unless there's a more efficient way of transferring that information request to the people that provide the service. We're going to spend some money to speed up to the time, well, minimize the time it takes to get to that same bottleneck. I guess that's what I'm hearing on the call. I haven't heard anything more specific beyond that.
And,
I'll
and
agree
that's
with
what
that.
that's what Mr. Farrell was saying. And if you look at, he just dropped some information in the chat about a service. Ms. Farrell, I'll let you go into it.
Well, no, so there, as he's explaining, there's a lot of technology based. We just have to decide if we're going to spend the money to do so. Rave Mobility, they actually, and the only reason I know about this company because my prior deputy city manager, when I was in Sandy Springs, left to be like one of the vice presidents of the company when they started, and it is used primarily. It started in the public safety sector, but it provides a lot of what we're talking about tonight and what the city may want to invest. But again, as Councilman Reed stated, we got to have the infrastructure. I mean, let's be real. I mean, we're like in a large area that, we probably all know where the dead spots in the cellular technology, around the city are located. And so we got to make sure we have the infrastructure for whatever is coming about, wherever it's going to be at, and what it's going to look like. And that's where the city is going to have to decide if they want to invest, whether we stay with the county or not. It doesn't matter. Still got to have the technology. You still got to have the cell capacity, the network capacity for all those type of services. And a lot of it, I mean, everything is converting to 5G. 5G is supposed to be the best, supposed to be all, provide all this data behind the scenes. And again, cellular technology is ones and zeros. So that's how they know your name and all this other stuff. I mean, it's all just how stuff is programmed. So but you got to have the bandwidth for it. If you don't have the correct bandwidth, it doesn't matter what it is.
I guess what I'm saying is that if all the knowledge and information still going to that same group call center for Fulton County to then divvy up to the different cities they service, our capacity to provide information to City of South Fulton exclusively is not improved.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
That's what my issue.
No, you're correct.
And
I think
where the real problem is. They're dividing their
well, that's where the
time
IGA comes back. What we talked about, the intergovernmental agreement. So we have to look at and review just like any business, and I'm speaking for me, if I was an elected official, I'm reviewing the intergovernmental agreements, not every few years or every 3-4 years when I'm reviewing them every year to make sure that I'm getting served. Right now, where I'm at currently, I'm reviewing the intergovernmental agreements for my city manager, for police, fire, animal services, and literally I just gave her a synopsis of what we're not getting as of today. And so now I got to have a conversation with those folks at public safety in DeKalb County to say, hey, this is what we need. Y'all are supposed to be giving us this and we're not getting this. Why is that? Right. And now we needed this. And then we proceed from there. Hopefully we get those things. And then we can have a true number of what is truly, if we're receiving the services that we've signed for, then we can say, okay, you're not meeting the service. We need to go another direction. And of course, that's where the chief was speaking about last week. He meets with the public safety or the 911 director and they discuss those things, but also that's where we got to see those numbers. I mean, it's data. I mean, it is what it is. Right. That's why they make agreements.
Exactly. And so, and to your point, that's exactly what it is. Because like I said, we're not going with opinions, we're going in with the data facts. And so they have to have something in place to be addressing this issue, because this is priority number one for myself as a safety of the entire city constituents is at hand, knowing what's going on. But one of the things that it is my only duty really have as elected official is fiduciary. So, and I understand everything costs. But let's just say this too, as we invest, it's time that we start looking into, that's why I love subject matter experts, because they're like me, I go get educated on it. And then because I know what that means out there for the markets over there. And I do understand one thing is we're going to be with this pushing because we're going to own our own fiber and they can lease from us. And understand that that's a situation that I don't know why we're not discussing that as we're getting ready to do it, but we can actually own it. And I deal with subject matter experts who address those, let those lead. And once they explain it, you have to see something. We need revenue sources that's going to come in that's besides the property taxes to understand that's what it's going to take for us to grow efficiently. Because get this, we're not brand new no more. We're 5 out of the terrible twos. We've been potty trained and we can eat solid food. And it's time that we grow up as we start growing up and then prepare for the next 50 years. But it starts now. And we got to start having real conversations about what the city can do and how they can offset some costs. Go ahead.
And let's be honest. I mean, the chief pointed it out very eloquently. He said, we're paying the county almost $5 million a year.
That's
Do you think the
unacceptable.
county wants to lose $5 million?
Get this, the county don't want to fix the detention ponds, but that's not the conversation for today.
The
But
county
that's
is
what I'm
not
saying.
capable of
So-
improving the
Yeah,
service
that
on this
I know,
because of
but they don't want to lose
they will
anything.
they will end up losing it if we hold them accountable because they are
No,
not capable.
no, but listen to what I'm saying. This is government. They don't want to lose anything. I promise you, they will sit here and try to find a way. Let's be real. Look at Wolf Creek. Look how long it's taken us to get close to getting that. I guess
No,
you
but
know
They'll
check this
fight
out.
and
But check
drag
this
their
out.
feet
Check this
on
out.
it,
Check this
sure,
out.
but if you do a unbiased assessment, that $5 million could be spent on another opportunity that's just dedicated to us.
Thank you.
True,
no, I
but
agree with
then
you.
but then we
there.
think
That
about
is
it
so
like
true.
this.
But
Yeah,
but
that's
this is
true.
the thing. When you look at it from a holistic standpoint in their mind, they're like, okay, wait a second. If we lose the largest city in our footprint at 5 million, what do you think a Union City and a Fairburn are gonna do?
Exactly. You hit the
Well,
nail on the head right there. I think
So-
we need to go into this just having Fulton County as a whole upgrade. You know, like we can get a better when you're dealing with companies and vendors.
And build your
Yeah.
own and try and overhaul their antiquated systems and processes.
No,
That's
Mr.
just-
Washington, you are absolutely correct. But just like Mr. Farrell said, and I've said earlier, it's our infrastructure that needs to be upgraded first.
Right, exactly. So get this, check this out.
Well,
As,
think about it.
everybody, let's say, is because I do
Time is
respect people's
short,
time. I do
Mr.
respect
Reed.
people's time. Get this.
Time
Check
is
this out. Check this
short.
out. Check this out.
But-
I know it's short, but get this. For the next 30 days, this is engaging, we're gonna ratchet up as let's go to 2 days a week for these next 30 days on this call, because this is a situation and it's not gonna get, but I respect people's time. And I promise because I was 15 minutes late on purpose to show out there the response time and how those minutes count. Is everybody anxious? What's going on? And you felt exactly what people feel, but have exacerbated to 3 times the amount of that in an emergency situation. And that's what it will happen. So
no, that's right, Corey, and that's where we need to find, like, again, Mr. Washington, bringing up excellent points, and you're correct. But until we get these numbers, we don't know what the average response time is. We don't know from the call. If you call 911, once they dispatch over to Fulton County, how long does that take? What's the
that's
lag
part
time
of the problem
right,
too.
right.
I called 911 last week.
Check this out, gentlemen. Check this out. We're going to continue this. I promise you this. As today is what, Tuesday, right? No, today is Monday. So let's do the next one up there Thursday. Okay, we're gonna start to schedule this thing for the site visit for Thursday as well. And so we have some more to talk about. But for the next 30 days, we're going to 2 days a week, just so we can answer this. As I was late and I just ran over the time, so we passed the even extended time. As I said, but I do want to thank y'all for taking the time out of the day to join this call. It's because understand we're going to push the brain trust of this district, of this city to the max to come up with the best solution to give our chief out there what he needs as the decision going to be made in 30 days. As we'll be able to celebrate Jubilee, knowing in our minds we know safety, so we anticipate no accidents. Thank you all for coming tonight. I appreciate that. Get this. Thursday night, 6:30, 7:30. Bring it on as we go Thursday night live for these special edition for these next 30 days. I have nothing else better to do. This is agenda topic and only thing number one for the next 30 days. So bring all your data, compile it. Let's get this going and let's move in the right direction with this, as this is to me, it's fundamental of infrastructure it ever can be. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right.
And get this, I love y'all and y'all can't do nothing about it.
All right.
Thank you.